Welcome back to The Ultimate Dad, and we are going to talk a little bit about the five-string banjo. One of those instruments that always gets somebody's foot tapping and brings a smile to somebody's face. I want to talk about this banjo in particularly and what this thing means to me and its amazing history. Now this particular model is a 1928 Gibson Mastertone archtop with a 40-hole tone ring. Now, not all of the parts on this banjo are original. The pot and the chrome and the hardware all appear to be original, but the neck does have identifying keys that show that maybe somewhere in the 50s that it might have been replaced. But it is a handmade neck, and you can tell when we get up close to some close-up shots that it doesn't have that laser cut finish to it. This was hand carved, hand inlaid neck, and they did a very good job doing it. Now, naturally, over the years, some of the original components need to be replaced due to age. The banjo head was replaced with a frosted Remo head. As you can still see that arch top protruding through, which I just absolutely love the look of it. Now, some of the things that are original to this model, and I absolutely love the characteristic, is the scratches and some of the slight pitting in the original nickel plating. Now, it was upfitted also with a Snuffy Smith bridge, just for tone. Now, as we close up to the neck, you can see just what a phenomenal job the luthier that created this neck did. Although I'm sure that if it had the original neck on it from this time period, that it still wouldn't be a very playable instrument. You can just see the lacquer, brush marks, the slight minor gaps in the inlay. It's just such a nostalgic look instead of the traditional laser cut production line finish that you see on everything these days. I absolutely wouldn't trade this finish on this banjo for the world. Now the tuning pegs, I can tell you they're old, but even talking with other banjo players, we don't feel that those are original to this unit. You can see that there's some yellowing on the knobs, some scratches and scuffs alongside the back of the neck. And we'll get to the back side of the resonator, which it's also a little up in the air if this was original to the banjo, but there's some really cool features to the inside of that resonator that would make me not change it for anything. Now, to remove the resonator from the back of your banjo, you will have 4 thumb screws. I've already pre-loosened these, but I just wanted to show you the location. So once you pull your 4 screws and you remove your resonator, this exposes you to the inside of the banjo, to its inner workings. Here you can see the back side of the banjo head. And what makes this a 40-hole tone ring banjo is the tone ring down here has 40 holes in it. Now, arch top means that the banjo head was actually stretched over the arch top. There's a ridge in the tone ring that actually lifts the banjo head slightly higher. Now, it's not that common to see arch tops being played in today's bluegrass because they're a little bit more pingy and tinny sounding than the banjos that you hear today. But I've always felt that this one had a very great sound to it, and I just will not change what it is right now. I love it the way it is. But you can see this is all wood pot, all the original hardware that has just that beautiful, just patina to it. I just absolutely just love the way that this banjo looks. But we're going to move on to one thing that I've always found was very interesting about this particular model. Now, inside of the resonator, there is writing. Now, the original, basically the grease marker, it was a grease marker they would use to identify like models and whatnot on these when they were manufacturing the production line. They would use a grease marker that the grease would actually penetrate the wood and stain it. So you would always have an identification marker stained into your resonator. Now this banjo is so old, it's lightened up a lot to the point where you can't see what it even says. You can see remnants of a mark here, but under any kind of lighting that I've tried to do, I just cannot seem to find exactly what that marking is. But a couple interesting things, and I'm going to try to get this in the camera as best as I can for you to see. But right here, basically right below where this nut is for the thumb screw, somebody in pencil wrote repair 41. So it was repaired once in 1941, and I thought that was just absolutely incredible. I wish I knew who that was. Now, the one next to it, directly next to it, and I've actually had a conversation with this gentleman, and he doesn't remember it doing it, but he would have also been, I think he mentioned that he would have been around 17 years old when he made this repair, is this marking here that says repaired by Dale Perry, Crum, West Virginia, November 11th, 1977. Now, for you that may not know who Dale Perry is, he is a renowned banjo player. He's played with multiple people and had a very successful bluegrass career, but he spent quite a long time with Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver, traveling with them. I know that for a long time he was one of Doyle's right-hand men, and phenomenal singer, phenomenal bass singer, phenomenal banjo player. And what's interesting is that the part of Kentucky where Dale was from is real close to the part of Kentucky where my grandfather and my grandma was originally from before they moved to Ohio a long time ago. And so at some point, a banjo player that I looked up to had his hands on this banjo making repairs to it in 1977 to boot. So one of these days, Dale, if you're listening, one of these days, I would love for you to actually see this thing in person and just see if any memories come back. Now, I imagine he's probably had tens of thousands of banjos in his hand, but you never know. It might be something about that just kind of gives the old spark back to him and says, I remember exactly when I did this. And I hope that would be the case at some point. But it's a phenomenal history. So I don't know exactly how long that my grandfather owned this banjo before I had it, but I know that it goes way back pre-80s. So it goes back into the 70s. I don't think that my grandfather was the owner when Dale made this repair, but it stayed in the family, and I was lucky enough to end up with it. Now, as this banjo has seen public eye before, one of the things that attracted a lot of attention to this banjo is this case with that hot pink crushed velour. You can definitely see its age. I've cleaned it, but it's still kind of stained in this area. It's in pretty used shape. This would not be a case that's going to survive if you tried to go out on the road with this thing again, but this case has the smell of 1950s just ingrained in it. And I wouldn't trade this case for the most expensive hardshell model available. Now, I know I haven't played any banjo for you in this video, and I do apologize for that. Unfortunately, last Saturday playing flag football, I dislocated my middle finger, and it is swollen like crazy, and I'm having a hard time playing anything right now. So I'm going to have to give that another couple weeks to heal up before I can really kind of get back after it. But thank you so much for coming this far into the video and listening to the history of the banjo that I have, that I play and love and cherish dearly. If you're interested in learning how to play a banjo, definitely get started. There are thousands of videos on YouTube that are free of how-tos just to kind of get you started. If you have questions about what kind of banjo you should get to start learning how to play, it doesn't really matter. If you don't know how to play, anything is better than nothing. I wouldn't say don't go out and spend thousands of dollars on a brand new banjo. You're probably going to want to find something in the $300 to $500 range to start. That's going to get you fairly decent quality to at least get your feet wet. And then as you progress, you grow into better models. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the next video.